Today I want to review my current cozy game obsession, and that is Wylde Flowers. I will keep this as spoiler free as possible in case you're new to the game, but in case you're buying this for someone else or you just don't mind as many spoilers, there will be some more spoilery information down in the caption below, so if you want to find out a little bit more about the game, a little more about the intricacies, then I'll leave a few extra details down there for you, just in case. But this video will be mostly spoiler free, so let's get cozy and tuck yourself in for this quick Wylde Flowers review. Wylde Flowers is available on mobile, Steam, and on Nintendo Switch, which is how I'm playing it, and I think it works really well on the Switch. Compared to a lot of others, it isn't a graphically intense game, and I think for that reason the battery life of my Switch when I play this on the go is actually really good. I can get a decent few hours of this. Wylde Flowers is definitely the type of game I would want to take with me on a long haul flight, so that is perfect that I don't need to worry about the battery life for it. Something I'm happy I didn't discover before playing Wylde Flowers is that it was a mobile game first. So it came to the Apple Arcade and it was a mobile game first, and it was only ported to the Switch in September 2022, so it's a pretty new game if you're only playing the Switch. This game did also win the Apple Arcade Game of the Year, so if you do like mobile games, then this is probably a good one to go with. If you're new to them, it's probably a good one to start with, but I like the big screen, I like the Switch, I like playing on something like that, so for me, the Switch is absolutely the way to go. In fact, my only criticisms for this game probably exist because it's a mobile game first, so I'll get to those in a little bit. I'm trying to work out why I like Wylde Flowers as much as I do. I'm still trying to put my finger on it because this game doesn't fit neatly into just one cozy gaming category. Instead, it's kind of gone into multiple without getting too deep to ever feel overdone. It feels like you could farm forever despite the plot being tiny compared to other farming sims, but there's also a lot of story you can engage with and move forward with when you're ready. As a brief introduction, you play as Tara, who had a corporate job in the city and a fiance, and everything crumbled down at once. Tara's grandma has been unwell, so she decides to move in with her and help her with the farm. When Tara arrives, there are many people who remember her from childhood and new faces to become friends with, including a really cute cat, which, yeah, you can pet. If you have seen the cover of this game, or in fact just the cover of this video, you can probably guess that magic is involved. And yes, it is. The storyline of this game is very closely related to Tara discovering she's a witch and to discovering that her grandma is part of a coven on the island. There is so much to discover here, and the game ends up feeling so much bigger than when you start. Magic is also a great way to introduce elements like speed boost in a way that actually makes sense, although it is weird that none of the characters seem to notice when these things happen. According to How Long to Beat, the story in this game is about 35 hours long, whereas the completionist version is about 70 hours. So you can honestly get as much out of this game as you like, and the developers are actually adding some post-game content. Each season brings with it new challenges and tasks from the town or from the coven, and while some tie in with the story and game progression, there is a lot you can do to get to know different characters and have fun with the seasons however you want to. Wylde Flowers has those classic elements we've come to expect: farming, mining, chopping, foraging, and fishing. But they are a little more simple than in other games, and I think that comes down to it being a mobile game first. For example, you can only fish in certain spots, and they are much easier to catch than in Stardew Valley. There are no monsters in the mines either, which maybe you like, maybe you don't. I kind of miss it, but this game has a much slower animation when you're chopping or when you're mining, so I feel like fighting would also feel slow and it wouldn't feel right in this game. Stardew Valley, for example, has a much quicker pace when you're chopping, and so when you're fighting it has that quick pace that feels right. So I think in Wylde Flowers it would just feel a bit weird and a bit slow. A good and a bad thing that happens, and I think again this is because it was a mobile game, is that a bubble appears on an object to let you know that you're about to interact with it. A bubble on a tree to let you know you're about to chop it down, or a bubble on fallen branches to show you're about to collect them. However, when those two things are close together, you can end up chopping down a tree you didn't mean to and using a bit of extra stamina that you didn't mean to. It's not a big deal, but it is something that I generally get annoyed about, and Tara has a whole little dialogue that she says whenever she runs out of stamina that you then need to get through, all because you've tried to chop a tree down that you didn't need to chop down. But before I get annoyed about that, I'm going to move on to something that I really unexpectedly loved about this game, and that is the villagers. The people in this town genuinely interest me. They are all so wonderfully voice acted, and they have stories that progress just as yours does. Some of them even go to a grief counselling group together and talk about moving forward in their life or not while dealing with that loss. It probably has everything to do with the voice acting, honestly, because I know a lot of people love the characters in Stardew Valley, but I just overlook them completely and just go about farming and mining and not really interacting with them. They just didn't grab me anywhere near as much as these people in Wildflowers did, and it's probably just the voice acting. I also love that Wildflowers has gone through the effort to make this a small town that's still full of diversity. It feels wonderfully accepting and somewhere that everyone can feel at home in. I genuinely care about these characters, I want the best for them, and I look forward to talking to them each day. It isn't always perfect, sometimes I think the dialogue was meant to be like after a certain event, but if you are actually talking to them every day then you wouldn't really get that. Still, that's the only sort of weird thing, and apart from that, I love them. It's a really unexpected thing that just adds to the joy of this game. I already thought it was going to be good, and then this is just a whole other layer. I'm going to end on a weird quirk, which I'm over, but like not really, and that is that Tara isn't customizable. I guess it's just something that I've come to expect in games, that you can customize your character a little bit, but Tara is just Tara. The same way that she ends is the way she begins, in the same dress, the same jacket, same heeled boots. And apparently she's just farming every day, she sleeps that way every day, and it's just a little bit peculiar. The only time she changes right now is if you marry someone in the game, and then of course there is a wedding outfit, and that's it. That's all she's got so far. I would love if in the future there's an update that maybe gives her like a seasonal outfit or something that makes a little bit more sense. So that is it. That is my mostly spoiler-free review of Wildflowers. It is clearly a game that I really love. I think the pacing is great. I love that I can just run around and do what I want until I'm ready for the story to progress. It makes it a really great cozy game for me that still has that linearity and something that keeps me engaged as long as I want to play for. I love the game loop. I love the whole witchy storyline, and as I said, the villagers are just great. I'm really intrigued to find out who other people want to marry. I think Damon is probably top of my list. If you decide getting into Wildflowers, I'd love to know who you're interested in courting too. And of course, I'd love to know what you think of the game. So thank you for watching. If you liked this, then please consider giving the thumbs up, a little tappy tap. And if you subscribe, that would just make my day as a new YouTuber. It's just great when someone else subscribes. It just fills me with joy, and it makes me want to make more content that you guys will like, and it gives me a bit more of an idea of what you like as well. I will leave another cozy video here for you to explore, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!